365 subscription, providing the chapter administration, chapter officials, and the planning and zoning committee continued access to essential productivity tools that enhance collaboration, communication, and operational efficiency. And 7, the requested modification is as follows below. We originally had 3,000 in repairs and maintenance for our office equipment, and we like to split that in half, with 1,500 going to travel expense and 1,500 going towards operating supplies. 8, the Broadway Gap chapter recognizes that above budget is necessary to allow the chapter administration to adequately and correctly account for fund transactions and expenditures for fiscal year 2025. Therefore, be it resolved, the Broadway Gap chapter hereby supports and approves the budget line item transfer in Fund 10 LGA Grant Fund in the amount of $3,000. Broadway Gap chapter recognizes and supports the fiscal year 2025 accounting, coordination, reporting, and monitoring policy, and will comply with all applicable policies and procedures of the Navajo Nation. I do want to go back up to line number 5 and just provide details into these acronyms. When I say DCD, this is the Division of the Community Development. This is the office that the chapter is they're under that branch. And then the ASC is the Administrative Support Center, which they're located in Tuba City, and there are technical support in regards to policies and procedures, training, anything to do with budget. They do mandate the chapter manager and chapter administrative assistant to attend certain meetings that we're required to go to, as well as they'd like us to be at meetings where chapter officials are invited for training. And they it always says mandatory on their agendas. And so that's when those are those meetings that that is required from us. The second one, ITG New Mexico. This is our accounting consultant. They are the ones that we originally worked with 10 or so years ago, where we implemented our accounting system, and they still help us today. And there are some trainings that we do have to attend, and we do have one coming up. We don't go to a lot of their trainings because I'm proud to say that our chapter is pretty well versed in our accounting system. But there are new items that we do, when they do upgrades, we do have to attend those trainings. But I'm proud of Chelsea, that she does a lot, she knows a lot about our accounting system, and we just get their support when we need assistance. Everything is done virtually, but there are some trainings that we have to do in person. And then when it comes to the Microsoft 365, our chapter officials, planning and zoning, the chapter staff, we all use Gmail, we all use Word, any of those apps from Microsoft 365. And so for us to continue using it, we do have to buy a subscription every year. And this year, we're going to buy additional licenses so that I can try to get additional emails outside of the Navajo Nation. The ones that we use, I want to add maybe 2 or 3 more emails coming directly from the chapter instead of just seeing Gmail all the time. So that's what we're trying to implement as well. And thank you, that's my resolution.
Det not as if another curious police aid also there is to the back.
Mr. President, we have a motion by Patty John, second by Darlene Curley.
Thank you, Patty and Darlene. We'll open up for questions, concerns. Exactly, for the Oxford, it's not need this to make it.
Question.
Yes, hold on. Let me just summarize this in Navajo. See, there are 9 items based off of one item to another. What's that so transfer in there? $3,000. The BGC Coolidge that AAS and they're not always talking about AD. They're Division of Community Development Agency, county consultant, the short of the kid. I don't think this or not, so we are to give this training to if a bus. So, that was it. I think you know, go ahead.
Ja, kvinner det de nationale behandling says it says the body will get chapter supports and approves the budget line. A budget line means line item 10 and it says budget line dash item transfers in Fund 10 LGA grant fund in the amount of 3,000. Equal to 10 $16,361. Is that what it says?
Yes, that's right.
So, line item transfer, all we're doing is in Fund 10, we already have a budget. We're just moving from the office equipment repair money, and we're just moving it into the travel and operating in the same fund. We're not moving it from one fund out, so it stays in the same fund.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Elia.
Thank you, Leonard, for your questions. Any other more questions? The floor is open. Go ahead, sister.
Thank you, yeah. It says repair and maintenance. Office equipment,
Yes.
So how much will be in there? Are you guys saying that you're not gonna have any issues with your office equipment? Or is there gonna be still some funds in there? I can't really see so. Even on, I just.
Jim? Sure. Oh, no, it's color. Go, sir. Look at that. Look at that. Oh.
Okay. Yeah, that is it.
Okay, thank you, Dolly. So we still will have some funding in there, but so far, a lot of our equipment is just, we haven't had any issues, but we are able to put more into it when the new fiscal year comes, because we only have a couple months for carryover. So then we can go ahead and budget that, and I think we might end up budgeting it in another fund, in our fund 03 account under land claims, because we do have additional funding there. And then that allows us to use more towards land in Fund 10. But we will have a few $100s. We use our Best Buy customer accounts if we need to do repairs. We also have contact with a few community members that do have experience with repairs, and they have licenses. So there's one that lives in Page and one that lives in Tuba. And so we really don't use a lot of our systems except for work. And the only issues we run into is when our backup batteries go out on us. But other than that, our system is really good. We did have when we purchase our computers and our laptops, we actually had to go and speak with, the IT department from the Navajo Nation to make sure that we had the right type of setup so that we didn't fall into that as well. And part of Microsoft 365, part of that subscription also has that maintenance already included in there. So we get that kind of coverage as well. Thank you.
Any other questions, concerns, recommendations, be confused? If they're not, we give it to Vice President. You get nothing, get it now, Vice President, they won't lead on this.
I was gonna make a comment.
Go ahead, go ahead, go
No,
ahead,
that's
go ahead.
okay.
Oh, I'm
Those
sorry,
on the
go ahead.
floor to vote, all those who vote in favor of resolution BA-07-051-25, the budget line item transfers in Fund 10 LGA grant fund in the amount of $3,000. Those who vote in favor, raise your hand, please.
There you go.
Those who oppose, please raise your hand. Those who abstain, not voting. Mr. President, we have a vote of 29 in favor, 0 opposed, and 3 abstaining. President, council delegate, and community member.
Thank you, Vice President. With that vote, we move on to the next resolution. And the new resolution, G. Sponsor is JFRs. Jay, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. My resolution reads BA 07-05225. The Broadway Gap chapter supports and approves the modification in Fund 23 Navajo Nation Sales Tax line item 660506 in the amount of $1,083 for the Planning and Zoning Committee special meeting date July 3rd, 2025. Whereas pursuant to the Navajo Nation Codes Title 26, Section 3A, and Navajo Nation Title 11, Part 1, Section 10, the Broadway Gap chapter is certified and recognized by the Navajo Nation Council. And 2, pursuant to the Navajo Nation Code Title 26, Section 1B, Broadway Gap chapter is vested with the authority and responsibility to review all matters affecting the community, make appropriate corrections when necessary, and make recommendations to the Navajo Nation and other local agencies for appropriate actions. And 3, pursuant to Navajo Nation Code Title 26, Section 1B, Broadway Gap chapter is given government authority with respect to local matters consistent with Navajo law, including custom and tradition. And 4, the Broadway Gap chapter is requesting to modify Fund 23 Navajo Nation Sales Tax and line item 23660506 stipends to allocate funds for the Planning and Zoning Committee's approved special meeting held on July 3rd, 2025. The modification will ensure proper documentation and financial accountability, acknowledging the additional time and responsibilities undertaken by the committee members outside of their regular meeting schedules. And 6, the requested modification is as follows. Adding a special meeting into their stipend at $200 for the meeting for 5 committee members that were in attendance. And that would be the stipend total of $1,000. And then the FICA and Medicare at $62 and $14.50, and then workers' comp at $6.50, with a total of $1,083. The Broadway Gap chapter recognizes that low budget is necessary to allow the chapter administration to adequately and correctly account for fund transactions and expenditures for fiscal year 2025. Now therefore be it resolved that the Broadway Gap chapter hereby supports and approves the stipend payout for the Planning and Zoning Committee special meeting in the total of $1,080, which includes fringe benefits. Two, the Broadway Gap chapter recognizes and supports the fiscal year 2025 accounting, coordination, reporting, and monitoring policy and will comply with all fiscal policies and procedures. My resolution basically is stating that with the budget that we had and that was passed at the beginning of the year, there was no specified budget for planning and zoning for them to get stipend for a special meeting, because at that time it wasn't discussed. We just had stipends for 12 meetings for 5 members. So if we have to pay out at a different type of meeting, we do have to have a separate budget. And currently, they do have funding in their stipend account. We just have to note that we're going to use $1,083 towards that account. The $1,083 for EC FICA, Medicare, and workers' comp, the chapter pays that on top of the portion that the committee members pay, so we have to pay our portion of those benefits. So that would be going to for the taxes, and then they're also covered under workers' comp. So those are our portions that we pay. So that's why it's $1,083. Normally it'll just be $1,000 because it's $200 per committee member. So that's my resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Donna, que pequena saúde, que mochi parties, acho que não.
Going to the floor for a motion. Roland Big, second by Dorothy Lee. I'm sorry. You have to say bingo. Mr. President, we go to the floor for comments and questions regarding this resolution.
We cannot get a lot all season. About us, when you have to make action. There's a modification. It's announcement starting announcement under Fund 23, Neighborhood Nation Sales Tax, line item. The media is all thank you. For planning and zoning special meeting. A club was given Club C, a planning and zoning committee special meeting. If there's a so induction 8 hours Chino is a Pichon. The essence about so. Adult Kuya 1000 planning zoning no but so. FICA no Medicare space. So they're all required by the state of Arizona. See, I got but so. Other workers count the they're all required by the state. Equal to the Arizona, I got the kid. But you know, I don't know, I call I don't get the floor is open for questioning. Any comments, any suggestions regarding this resolution? na ko yung Vice Principal natin siya today.
Thank you, President. This resolution is BA-07-052-25. The Bottomway Gap Chapter supports and approves the modification in Fund 23 Navajo Nation Sales Tax line item 6605-06 in the amount of $1,083 for the Planning and Zoning Committee special meeting date, July 3rd, 2025. Going to the floor, all those in favor, raise your hand, please. Twenty-nine in favor, those opposing? Those abstaining, not voting. Mr. President, we have a vote of 29 in favor, 0 opposed, and 2 abstaining. President and council delegate, this resolution passes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your participation on this occasion there. Yata pini pina yet katopustik now the and the new resolution H sponsor is Ajay Das.
Thank you. My last one, guys. So, resolution reads BA-07-05325. The Bottomway Gap Chapter supports and approves a budget revision to Fund 39 escrow to include 6 new home construction projects with an allocation of $30,000 per home with a total of $180,000. Whereas pursuant to Navajo Nation Code Title 26, Section 3A, and Navajo Nation Title 11, Part 1, Section 11, Section 10, the Bottomway Gap Chapter certified and recognized by the Navajo Nation Council. And pursuant to Navajo Nation Code Title 26, Section 1B, Bottomway Gap Chapter is vested with the authority and responsibility to review all matters affecting the community, make appropriate corrections when necessary, and make recommendations to the Navajo Nation and other local agencies for appropriate actions. 3, pursuant to Navajo Nation Code Title 26, Section 1B, the Bottomway Gap Chapter is given government authority with respect to local matters consistent with Navajo law, including custom and tradition. 4, Bottomway Gap Chapter shall revise Fund 39 escrow to allocate $180,000 for the initiation of construction on 6 new homes located within the former Bed and Freeze area in support of improving housing conditions for affected residents. And 5, the proposed budget allocation shall support essential housing assistance initiatives focused on rehabilitating deteriorated, unsafe, and unstable living conditions affecting residents impacted by long-standing development constraints. And 6, the revision is as follows. 6724 financial assistance under building materials. So these 2 line items are going to be the same. We're just stating, we're just being more detailed in regarding to the amounts. So we like to use $180,000 to do 6 new constructions, meaning we'll buy the materials for the new construction of a home. But the fund number will still stay the same. 7, the Bottomway Gap Chapter recognizes the above budget is necessary to allow the chapter administration to adequately and correctly account for fund transactions and expenditures for fiscal year 2025. Therefore, be it resolved that the Bottomway Gap Chapter hereby supports and approves a budget modification for Fund 39 escrow to include 6 new home construction projects with an allocation of $30,000 per home with a total of $180,000. Two, the Broadway Gap chapter recognizes and supports the fiscal year 2025 accounting coordination, reporting and monitoring policy, and will comply with all applicable policies and procedures. And then we have our certification. Initially, the startup on this, or the suggestion, was due to an emergency we had regarding a home. Now, with the escrow fund, we're only allowed to buy building materials. We can't hire personnel. So we are working with our pt laborers because they are considered escrow, they're our escrow crew. And so, talking with Lester Clark, who leads that crew, we did talk about some plans, we looked at some layouts, and we're going to work on getting building materials put together. And we're going to do a pilot project and see how that pilot works. And if it's something that we feel is feasible, if the family likes what the build is, we want to continue with this. Currently, we will be using our data from our Kobo toolbox surveys that we did back in April of 2023. I think we went from April to November, where chapter officials, planning and zoning, chapter staff, all volunteered and went through the whole community. We did 241 assessments out of 400 and I think 30 homes. And so we still have another half that we have to do, but right now, to start moving forward, we did start working on those homes. Some of those homes, they said that they were in the process of getting homes on their own through the Navajo Nation. And so we're just going down a list based off of points. And that's how some of these homes will be selected. Again, we are gonna do one pilot home and then we're gonna see how that works out for us, especially as far as the labor goes. We have our escrow team that's been really doing well with a lot of renovations. They've done a lot of roof repairs. There's some homes that are really, they've done amazing work. You can't even tell that home was, really bad, I guess you could say. And I'm very happy that we have a very experienced crew. And, and we don't say it enough, but we do appreciate them a lot. So, I enjoy having them. I don't see them all the time because they're always working. So they help with all of our escrow renovations. And all I'm asking is for the community to support us in this and see how this will work. And if it's something that is feasible, we want to move forward with doing a whole lot of new construction as well, instead of just relying on mobile homes, relying on a lot of the programs that it's taking a long time to get homes out here, especially with the CHID program and with Navajo Land Commission. So we want to see if this will benefit us and also use our escrow money as well. So that is all I have to say on my resolution. Thank you.
I don't like it. It has to be a solution. I don't need for discussion questions. That is the first one. I see hands. And 40.
Mr.
Mr.
President, we have a motion by Leonard Sloan, second by Dorothy.
Yes, ma'am. I don't yet need, but don't yet need to because we're gonna open the floor to questions. But all I suppose that the week is all check over now. Yes, cargo, just cargo. Over another door, new home construction. According there, Akas Aniki open 30,000 top for that area no. But I keep support 6 times 30,000 is 180,000. According PFP in Hunter, this is Twitch, that's current. Eho ga kuma ce da iko da ta bilibin ta kai ko ba da ni ka ko da ni so da ba ni ko ni ke do ni na ko di ko ta ta ho ga ya ti ja tuta bin ka ta zo da that window that does say those are to cover the floor up to the roof in that ako without that there's a station go home owners and they need a banista for the you get another oh Khalid yeah it's then so the business the shout and that这100天的你只弄这也做了那个读者你去看些the phone is open for questions. Let's say as a
So, Jonah, the six people in the former Veracruz area is kind of hard to deny. But, very octagon, octagon, just the shell, the cut on the side with the shell, you have not the interior or no light fixtures or other, it runs like about 15,000. So, 30,000, you can do quite a bit, but, family size, it doesn't count. I don't know if you got any names in place already or picked. Not this kid. I don't, but this kid, whole one aunties open sales to make room for, maybe, grandkids or other kids. Open sale, or does it have to be a whole new one?
I'll give that forward to MJ.
So it is kid. So another.
Thank you, Leonard. It's gonna be, I believe, based on the actual home itself. Out of the people that we select, we have to see how it's gonna benefit them. Do we just do a whole new construction, or do we do an addition? So it is gonna be based off of the situation of the home, and then the size of the home is gonna be based off of how many are in the household. It's even gonna benefit families like multiple households in one house, so we can split them up. Through the land commission office, their contract with us, it allows us to spend up to 30,000 as far for building materials. So really, essentially what we did was, I kind of gauged it off of quotes that I received when we first had Navajo Land Commission, when we had Choice Humanitarian here. And they were saying about 50,000 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, I think, and it was a large home. I think it was a 24 by 48 home, I think is what they had measured out, and that was from start to finish with the concrete and everything, with the pad. But with the Land Commission's agreement with the MOA that was done between the chapter and Navajo Land Commission, and this was back, I believe, 2015, that memorandum says that we can go up to 30,000. That doesn't mean we can stop there. I did speak with Sarah Slim from the office, and she said that that amount can be negotiable because it was an old resolution, or it was an old memorandum based off of a resolution from 2013, I think it was. Let me just double check. I have it right here, 2013. So the original resolution from the Navajo Nation Council was passed on July 25th, 2013. And then the chapter went into an agreement with the Land Commission on December 12th, 2015. So both of those documents say $30,000 for up to a new build. So, so we're just basing it off of that, and if we need to increase it, we have that option, and it does state in the memorandum that it is negotiable as well, but we want to, just make sure, we want to sit down with Sarah when it comes to that point. At this time, we still haven't made a selection yet, but we are using the Kobo Toolbox listing that we have, and that was also the listing that we provided with the resolution back when we first said we were gonna start renovating homes. So we're using that same listing at this time. And, and my hope, and I hope everybody agrees with this, is some of those people that are on that listing that have received the tractor trailers from ARPA, we can build them a home, and then those trailers, I'm really crossing my fingers, will go to people that are not on former Bennett Freeze, so then it benefits both people that are part of former Bennett Freeze and then people that are not on Bennett Freeze. So that's where my goal is, and that's what I want to try to do, so that both areas, we have money here and we have the trailers here, and we're able to benefit the two separate communities. I hate to say that, but our, Father We Got chapter has former Bennett Freeze and then non-former Bennett Freeze. But right now, this is just the first step we want to take. And then we're looking at floor plans. We're talking with Lester and trying to gauge the best way we can do this. And we're going to gauge again based on how many people are in the household and how many bedrooms they're going to need. Essentially, I at least want to do 2 bedrooms and maybe just purchasing the shell and then having the construction crew come in and then do the rest on the inside, because our crew has our lead carpenter, then we have a carpenter, we have a laborer who is, I think 2 of them do masonry work, and then we actually have a certified electrician on the crew that I didn't know he was certified. So it's good to have a certified electrician as well. So we do have a good team, a good crew, and they're very helpful. They do go above and beyond, and they, and some people may say they take too long, but they really do a lot of good work. Their work is so nice. I wish I could show you guys some pictures, but I don't have any on my tablet here. But there's a few homes that you can't even tell, again, it's like a huge makeover. It's really nice. And, the main concern with everybody that we visited is just the roofs, roof leakage and drywall. That's all damaged from moisture. So that's what we've been doing. We've upgraded quite a few bathrooms and changed it to walk-in bathrooms, accessible bathrooms. But this is, besides that, this resolution, we do want to do that build, and we know what to expect at some of these locations, and talking with community members, and whoever may get selected, we do, where we want to be able to one-on-one conversation. So we know, what essentially is necessary in their home. And that's just where we're coming at with this. I hope that answers your question, or somewhat.
A lot of these, I'm speaking for the young ones. General doctor shop, and they need a home. They just live like in the watershed stuff. That they live with their parents. The ones that can afford child the money out of the I don't know the criteria on this, but I know that people would have to deal with home site leases. It's not attached though, and that takes time. But as long as it's in process, and if it's not in the red zone, although if you really give to elderlies, down the road, we need to think about these young people. เขาดัดแอร์ที่โต๊ะคนจนนะเขาดัดแอร์ที่ you know what you're doing with the escrow fund. It's been sitting forever. So maybe the 180,000 that's out that, you know, it will give time to these other people to start working on their own side business. I don't know now so that, you know, the next few years, you know, we can agree on the same one again. So that you don't hear me capture me, so I don't shut it. Akhoda home side is all that. So it is actually all about this. You know, here, you know, give somebody a roof over their head. You know, it is here.
Jay has a little. Anybody other sees here.
Say I wasn't there in Navana, but
I just want to reassure you that we did talk about the young people and the middle-aged people. Young people still stay with their family. About 5 kids, so she can get easier. I think I'm caught over such a people. Kudo Sani does, Biggie me. Somebody has thought because she covered this, so she they got transpired that kick off, they got expired that kick off, they know. They are over Nico myself. So we keep that in mind. Thank you for your question, your concerns. You're way ahead of us. I didn't get down trouble. Sister, understand?
Oh, thank you. No, I can't. I just the escrow fund on me. Then not being not cost open. The issue that is the 30,000 negotiable no, if some of them go over 30,000, is the resolution going to come back and we have to make an amendment again also. Bit you know United States law up at the initial and the resolution in the other. So we are in that so it looks like there might be changes to the 30,000 and the 180,000. I think when it's ready for we know the actual amount. So maybe that's not the case, but I'm just looking ahead. Yeah, thank you. Oh, and then I just this escrow fund. Is this all of it? Is it still sitting there? Or has the check used some? How much is left? Thank you.
Hi, Dolly. Thank you for the question. When I read the fund balance report for June 2025, it is under Fund 39. We currently have $800,503.50. It might be a little less than that. We will know when we read July's ending fund balance report next month at August's meeting. And then going back to the question, yes, this money has been sitting there for a very, very long time. And so we finally, officials met. We went back to review the MOA that was given to the chapter back in 2013 and 2015. We read the revisions and the guidelines, and saw that those $30,000 are there and the $7,500 for repairs. And we said, you know what, let's get that money. Let's identify 6 families and utilize some of those monies. So right now, this resolution is just to approve that amount for now. Like Andrea indicated, we will have to go back and sit with Navajo Hopi Land Commission to update the MOA and make any changes. If there's any updates or changes, we will bring those right back to the chapter and get that approved and do all those revisions. And if there's any amounts that are more or less, we will indicate it at that time. But right now, we do have several families who are in need, so we do need to pass this resolution so we can help with those projects. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam, Council Delegate, go ahead.
Okay, we need to spin this out. It's been here for a long time. On the based on the hard things, Nevada or near Gaya. On the Washington there. So a cup at the bed, cut they cost. They're closing their doors. I call Aben Nacha, Eddie Skins of Basil, Chudo in Argia. Arch Yego, that the link to the snow, but I could a partners in the Deliver, which I see. Not just here, but I have 4 chapters that are on this funding. Here and then Bodaway Gap, Dog, Copper Mine, Kaibito and Hanalia. I heard out a I see the cats is these things are what that the next base of that's what I thought other question. John Day the our all 18 and they that she a young Navajo Nation base of all I think they alcohol would end. But that person that if it's a loan or if it was just given to them. So I know I can share all the songs in which I'm not saying. Alcohol all alone, let them heal the obvious on Hadasi, Neti, Hodo, Picato had a dosnish, Benia, Nankito, Nidoe, base of them, the kitchen, Nata, Sat, Hidden Nidoe. Did that base of Archer, which is not hard date on it. Jobbings in the store, excuse me. I call Ebony now, but I see I go big over this jail at the echo. I do all I do ain't hard chin. We get in there. Has Joe how one but I'm not and I saw it. So I see yell, which in the house deal. They're not getting the help. But some of them are still coming to me saying they're homeless. Did the Hajon get better husband or yard Ecuador casting in of the needed them banan bush come. How does she aid the nation the Hakam? Whatever no home. Upon Ebony now, I have a list. I don't live on another hit the Shah, other Bagan the nation. Upon I see the Nayego, which and not what he dobahan it they need. Obohani ho and not just a dog of a tahadon, Nahid, Johatea. Did I see how one things they needed on my hands to us on it. I have a couple of veterans that are coming to me from this area that are saying they're in need of home. I went to go visit a home with a grandma with about 7 grandchildren. Their whole home's ready to collapse. So that what they go the Hahadoni or Bahatsit. Eda Nesh Ido, other on the Kuchit, how on the Tadas Nido, Honda, Hodo base of Trinidad, Ahide, jo ebe ni na os kan de tan hin de I see all and nothing the has tan di hawan da denish ba yash tielta hada ishanda ka ebe ni na hota hanana si do les opakha na sa ado les I see but hota has si do he.
Thank you, Madam, Council Duncan. Vice President, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Councilwoman, for coming to our meeting and sharing your insight in regards to our housing situation and our housing conditions here within the Broadway Gap chapter. I want to notate for the record that we have a housing list. We generated a housing list based on the assessments that we conducted within our chapter. As of today, I have not received an email or correspondence from council delegate or councilwoman in regards to these families who are coming directly to her requesting for these assistances. If she had communicated that information from the very first family who communicated that with her to us, we would have known that. In exchange, the list that she has and the list that she generated, I ask that she relinquish that to us so we can go out to those homes because we do not know. You know, for the record, I'm a homeless individual. I have a home site lease. I don't have a house. I've documented it and I recorded it and I've come to the chapter numerous amounts of times and stated that. And to this day, I still don't have a home. And so when Councilwoman indicates that she advocates for all the families within our area, I do not think that is true. And so, Councilwoman, I ask that you please share those names with us and in the future, communicate that with us immediately. At the same time, I've sent you numerous amounts of emails in regards to the conditions and situations of our chapter, and I have not received a response from you. Thank you very much.
Madam, Council Delegate, floor is yours.
Okay, Nana, I did need the address issue. I did bring this up. I don't have pictures that show issue to our CSC. I don't on the letter anyway, it's all I use in every shit of a content that's addressed to everybody. So, what ended I tried to, I addressed that and then based on, as told we use it up and then not that need. I tried to go into other, see if I can help them out some other way. Although the housing hadn't need so that was one that I call she's on it's on to go with that I call what ended a young a corn as his name necessary out there. What are you on there? Not this not so auto as well as it's not initial. So you put I on this case story on quite eager. They such a chapters go what that's the I think so a partners and the deed this family did everything not what is okay how they out of a car jet at the street. Could go. I could go. As a council, don't put your chapter together. I can't really tell them what all the said, but and then the go back. I put the concept that he just president a year ago is his national me here council to what a Nahadia. I put even now a hard egg with a chapter you give our hats on get that dish was needed or Shabbat on. Even I called the president, he gave a larger discussion, a community service coordinator, had a Navajo Nation employee, even I thought the article was not hashing. A but educator in that or here, one someone this was Bahid, a call, a hotel.
Thank you, Council Delegate. I thank you guys and you make the last, Judy over everybody, you know, the name is clinical, by the way, though, with this other 110 chapters, we are in a housing crisis. Nidi adotan stata, Samaya, Setatorti. They did a housing assessment. Kuni Trautratok, Credo, the sound, visually sound, people's living condition. Even that you could, ubikit is still a visit here. The people they really needed, but the agreement with the big communities, people that live there most of their lives, age is about. Nee, ga dus ik vind het juist gaat je net dat ik al een goed niet gegeven en die ik al pata. Is je altijd op wat no, dat is maar God in de hart gaat ik niet goed dat je gaat die evident age is apa. Nie gaat steeds al niet gaat apa substance no. That will qualify even that illicit idea. Therefore, people out there that lives out there in Idaho, Wyoming, and 40 years later, what they want to move back, so ain't over get that. Without the East kid. Thank you. I don't get nothing. Get out, get down. Andrea, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. With comments from Council Delegate and from Vice Presidents, and in efforts to keep communication regarding these housing assistance and housing requests, housing complaints. I forgot what I was going to say now. I'm sorry. I think that, you know, we all need to come together. I'd like to see a listing. Council Delegate, if you can provide me with names of community members. I only know of one that you provided me with. And this is where this resolution will most likely help that person because that person is in Bitter Springs. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of funding. I have funding. The chapter has funding. I'm not going to say I because it's the chapter. The chapter has funding to help with repairs. But if you don't live in the former Bennett freeze, unfortunately, it's not a lot. It's only $3,000. So when she's talking about the individual in Bitter Springs, $3,000 is not even a Band-Aid. It's not even going to hold something together. So if the community supports this resolution, this will help in a way where I'm saying we can, someone that we've awarded a trailer to that's Bennett freeze, if we use this money to build a home for them, then possibly I can give the trailer to the person that needs it with all the grandkids, you know. So that's where, you know, we have to come together. There's people that I know that go to council delegate, goes to the chambers, goes to the president's office. We've had people do that. But when it comes down to it, we got permission to do these surveys. We also got people that declined to do these surveys, and it's recorded. And some of the people that do complain, there's a few of them, they decline to do the survey. So what happens is they kind of get put back in the back of the line, you know, and unfortunately, when we explain it like that, we get people upset with us. But we're doing our best here, and I'm really asking for the community support to pass this resolution so that we can accommodate, we can try to help people on former Bennett freeze with some of these trailers that we've already purchased. And then the people on Bennett freeze can benefit from this new construction bill as well. It's going to play in two different parts. That's why it's important that, you know, as chapter officials, chapter staff, council delegate, and her staff, that we really communicate. We really try to get this information done, and get information to us, so that, we're all on the same page. We've submitted lists to Navajo Land Commission, 2 different lists, actually 3 back from 10 years ago. And the original list were people that were really in need. The list changed after Dorothy and I left. We came back, we put those same people on that listing, and out of that list, only one of them right now received a home from Navajo Land Commission on a list that was passed with the resolution. We also have listing under CHID that was passed with the resolution, and we got 2 awarded that I know of, and that was right now what they said they were gonna do. So we are getting that. But remember, all of these names, even the escrow listing, it was passed with the resolution. And we're trying to stick with that resolution. We're trying to be fair. We have it documented that these are, people that we're going to assist are based off of points as well. So, just moving forward, I hope that we can come together, we can work together, get these names. When someone goes to another office, we don't hear about it until it becomes a big issue. Like most recently, we had a community member complain to the president's office, and it just came back to us. It was fabricated information. The person has 3 homes, but they're saying they're homeless. We get those types of community members as well. They don't live in the Broadway area, but they want us to build homes. And Leonard mentioned, you have to have a home site lease in the Broadway service area if you want renovation and if you want a home. That's what it states in our policy. So we're not just pushing people away. We have very limited funding to help with renovations, meaning we have the funds, but we can't help with everything. That's what we run into. And so with the escrow fund, we have the funding right now this is what this resolution is for us. Let's build 6 homes and let's see how that will then trickle. It's going to start a ripple effect, and we may be able to, help more and use other funding to help in different areas. That's what this resolution it really essentially is, and I want to be able to, like they said, like the president said, housing crisis. I want to come back to live with my parents, but I live in Page. I pay a lot of money for rent. But, I like driving back and forth. I like helping my community, but I do want to move back to where my parents are at so I can take care of them. But that doesn't look like it's going to be for a while. But, just things like that. And I just really, we need to keep the communication open. I do go to Vice President a lot because her position as Vice President is she is pretty much the project coordinator. She oversees, or the project manager, and she oversees every project that we're doing. That is part of her position. And she's the one that has really been helping me with this escrow, and just helping me, make sense of a lot of the verbiage in some of the legal documents. But she's here to help with those projects. She helps with, the employment projects that we have. And so that's where, we stay open, and I want to be able, if someone is needing assistance, please come and talk to us. Start from the chapter and then we work our way up. If you're gonna go to Helena, make sure that you tell her that you guys came to see us, and, tell her that what we have mentioned. Because we're very transparent here. We don't hide anything. That's not the type of chapter I want to be part of. You guys know all of the negativity that's out there. We're transparent. We're here. If you want to see our policies, we're willing to show you. The budget, unfortunately not today, but the budget is usually posted there. If you want to see the individual line items, you're welcome to come over and talk to Chelsea. But and our budget is online. It's public records. So that's why we say it's transparent. Why is a chapter going to hide something if it's required for us to make it public records? And it's available to you guys as well. You just go onto the website. You can pull up any chapter's budget, the 110 chapters, you can pull up their budget going back as far as 2010. So that's available. I just want to make sure that you guys know that as well. And you can see how much we can help how much we can do financial assistance for, how many people we can help as well. It's all there in our, what we call the WIN system. But those are my comments, and I just wanted to make sure that we all, stay communicated. We all have emails, we all have phones, between the chapter staff, chapter officials, council delegates. And, we need to just focus and work together and get these homes situated, renovated, get new homes. That is the main goal, with this funding that we received from the Navajo Nation, the ARPA funding, and now the escrow fund. It's here for us. We just need to use it. And, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Gina.
Mr. President, I would like to make a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
In regards to this housing topic and these funds that are to be used. I, for one, as a chapter official, have known about these escrow funds. And I have been trying to press on the issue for many, many years. The Navajo Nation and Navajo Hopi Land Commission, they do indicate that they will provide technical assistance and guidance. I have yet to see anyone from the Navajo tribe or Navajo Hopi Land Commission come here to provide those technical assistance and guidance. Therefore, as a chapter, we have taken it upon ourselves to navigate these issues and to be productive in getting some of these projects completed and done. Furthermore, I ask that council delegates share all her housing reports and assessments with the chapter so that we are clear and transparent and that we are across the board utilizing the same system. And then I also ask that if anyone go directly to her requesting for housing or any chapter related information, that she uses our protocol and our chain of command, which is best practice across the board, that they start with the chapter, that they come back here and they talk to our chapter official. That way the sign-in sheet is there and it's documented and we are seeing the need. If she's conducting housing assessments and taking pictures and taking reports and not sharing that information with us, that goes to tell me that she is practicing favoritism and she's selecting certain people. Thank you very much.
I want to respectfully ask former President, Madam President Dorothy, to elaborate with all the things I thought that what was the criteria asked for this month.
Today, so, for one, the only start the 2010 and was when we got the escrow money. Although it wasn't little, other for G, because we had nobody to pick up the hammer or the saw to start working. There were no reliable carpenters, electricians, until the crew that Andrea has finally started moving forward. And last week, I should forget, we had a meeting with a group of people from Window Rock and to the city area, and they said, this is the first chapter that's finally using the escrow fund. We're really happy that we were going forward. And I'm proud to say that this cruise here, although we have to go by the policies, we have to go by the procedures. We can't cut all on the hard water needs the say that your policies and procedures is not they done hit it. They put on hit and all other whole G. And it's very important that these policies are used. I can say I was in the position where Andrea was once. And at that time, we advertised, and we had no carpenters that ever came forward until now. And I'm very proud to say that they're doing a good job and they fixed some nice homes. And you can hold the house or you see one house that everybody used to see the roof of the also, now it looks like it's a brand new house, a new build. So George, Eddie, and the team, that's our team, our guys that are working hard on it. Although I'm quite a fun Florida. You can go outside the reservation and look for yourself. Although I shop I noticed that because one day I was going to Anna, she said, Anna, my cousin Anna, I'm very proud of her because she went to Windora on her own. She did all the application. She moved it herself. Now she has a house. So the HR came this all from jungle man. So in the past, we used to have people that came and all done the therefore the whole the combination, but no, my relatives don't have nice homes. Some of them are homeless. So as even my sister, we all live at the housing at NHA, and we bought those homes. They can die in we pay for those homes. So we're very proud to be there, but with the pandemic, with the break of the highway, with all these NGS closing down, we come to where we can't afford any renovating, any fixing. Our streets are getting to fall apart. But I'm very proud to say this is I'm glad that Namahobi Land Commission gave us some money. With 6 homes, that's good. And I like the idea, the manager, why don't we use the 6 homes here in the farmer benefits, because that's where the money's coming from. And I'm not told that the money is a cheap auto, which is the they're outside the benefits. Those people still need homes too, all the way to Navajo Springs. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. I didn't get nothing to know. Today, go ahead.
Going through the window, the person does that, does that mean they're jumping chain of command, or is that chain of command only fall under going through the chapter?
They can do it on their own.
Families can go to Window Rock and request for assistance, but many departments and programs will refer those families back to the chapter because we have these funds. If they have funds outside of the chapter, they can utilize that to help those families. And then Andrea?
Go ahead, Andrea.
On your comment as well, so there's a deadline on some of these fundings that Navajo Nation departments have. And so our funding, we don't have a deadline on, just so you know, there's no deadline on it. But when it comes to Navajo Nation, like the CHID office, the Community Housing Improvement Program, and then the Housing Improvement Program, which gets their money from USDA, Navajo Land Commission, they have a time frame. They have to try to utilize their funds, meaning they need to purchase that good within a certain time. So when they have all these applications open, what I try to do is get community members to apply for them and put their names on a listing. And then if they don't get on it, then we come back over here to the chapter. But most of the time, like Vice President said, they'll let the chapters know, hey, we have this application available. We have this funding that's opening. Can you send us people? Can you select people? And I don't like to select people. I like to open it up to the community, and then they have the opportunity to come in, and then we help them, we sit with them. Especially when it comes with the Housing Improvement Program. That program has a wait list.
But as long as you keep up with it and you determine your updated information, you stay active, then you're able to get a house. That's how Dorothy's talking about her cousin. She told me that she waited 12 years and now she's finally getting a home, you know, and it is a wait process. Then you have your kid, you know, we had only about, I think, 13 people that applied here at the community. And we let it know, we put it out there. So when these opportunities become available, we try to notify the community. That way, the main Navajo Nation offices can use their funding. But if that doesn't work out, then we try to help out here. If it's with building materials, or we put you on, we do a survey, and then you're put on the second part of our escrow funding, or the second part of another assessment. And we keep those assessments here. Those assessments are confidential, and we do have a disclaimer. And if we are to, you know, share information, we do have to go back to the homeowner to say, hey, this company is willing to help. Can I share your information? So we do have that protection as well. We just don't share anybody's information with just any department. We do have to get that approval, but we do our best. And then even like Coconino County has funding if you need help with rent, with, you know, utilities, with propane. The chapter can help with utilities, but when we have an emergency, we can help with propane. We, you know, and just so everybody knows, we have wood. If you guys want to come in and get a load of wood, we do, you know, we help with that as well. So there are benefits working, you know, coming to the chapter, and we know what's available in Winter Rock. And then again, we're the, you know, we're the backup, I guess you could say, because we want to help them spend that money, because then they're able to say yes and help as many people. We're not sending money back to the US government, because that's what everybody's concern is sending money back. And so our money has no deadline, it stays here. What we're worried about is, you know, Navajo Nation losing funding. A good example, and I know I see a lot of NHA people here, is how NHA money just sat there, no repairs or nothing, and it got sent back to the government. And so we want to avoid that as well. So we do have all those different options, the avenues. It's just people need to come in and talk to us, and then that we can see what we can do. And then that's where we reach out to the delegate as well and say, okay, if you have, or she'll let us know this is available, you know, or she tells us if she has funding, and then we try to create projects for her. So that's how we try to work together. You know, we just try to help as many people as we can. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Xã bài ở tại xì cái tí là cái khá là rồi. So we give the floor to Vice President.
Thank you, President. This resolution was motioned by Leonard Sloan, second by Dorothy Lee. We'll go ahead and go to the floor to vote on resolution number BA-07-053-25. Those in favor, go ahead and raise your hands. Those who oppose? Those who abstain? Mr. President, we have 23 in favor, 0 opposed, and 2 abstaining, President and Council Delegate.
Thank you very much. Yeah, with that vote, we go on. Resolution of the new resolution. Vice President, you are the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me drink some water here. For the record, this resolution is BA-07-054-24, and I am the sponsor of this resolution. The Botaway Gap Chapter requests from the Navajo Nation Office of the President and Vice President, Division of Community Development, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and Navajo Housing Authority to appropriate funds from the recent government disbursement Navajo Homeowner Assistance Fund of $20 million for housing renovation or critical repairs at Bitter Spring, Arizona, NHA housing units of 75. Attached to this resolution is resolution number BA-08-070-25, which was passed by the chapter and provided by the then Navajo Housing Authority Committee from Bitter Springs. The resolution reads, whereas pursuant to Navajo Nation Codes Title 26, Section 3A, and Navajo Nation Title 11, Part 1, Section 10, the Botaway Gap Chapter is certified and recognized by the Navajo Nation Council. And number 2, pursuant to Navajo Nation Code Title 26, Section 1B, the Botaway Gap Chapter is vested with the authority and responsibility to review all matters affecting the community, to make appropriate corrections when necessary, and to make recommendations to the Navajo Nation and other local agencies for appropriate action. And number 3, pursuant to Navajo Nation Code Title 26, Section 1, the Botaway Gap Chapter is given governmental authority with respect to local matters consistent with Navajo law, including custom and tradition. And number 4, the Botaway Gap Chapter approved resolution BA-08-070-23 on August 26, 2023. The resolution requested assistance from Navajo Housing Authority to seek funding to renovate 75 NHA homes located at Bitter Springs, Arizona. And number 5, the former Bennett Freeze area had caused many families to relocate to other parts of the Navajo Reservation or nearby towns and cities, including the community of Bitter Springs, Arizona, which is located right outside the former Bennett Freeze area. And number 6, the 75 families are residing in homes managed by Navajo Housing Authority under the home ownership program. These families have endured significant challenges, including the former Bennett Freeze dispute, the disruption caused by the break in Highway 89, and most recently, the impact of COVID-19 pandemic and related employment disparities. And number 7, the 75 homes are in need of significant repairs and maintenance to reach quality housing standards. Many families have fulfilled their mortgage payment obligations, yet facing challenges with homes require substantial attention. It is essential to address these issues to ensure safe and comfortable living conditions for all residents. Therefore, be it resolved that number 1, the Botaway Gap Chapter endorses and supports the collaboration between the Navajo Nation judicial and executive branches, the Navajo Housing Authority, NHA, U.S. Housing and Urban Development, and Community Development to conduct an on-site visit to gather insight, create a comprehensive report, and to expedite the allocation of funds for a thorough renovation. Number 2, the Botaway Gap Chapter requests that the Navajo Nation require Navajo Housing Authority, NHA, Native Community Capital, NCC, Navajo Division of Children and Families, NDCFS, and Navajo Homeowner Assistance Fund, NHAF, to utilize the recent disbursement of $20 million from the government to help Bitter Springs NHA housing homeowners with critical repairs or complete renovations. Number 3, the Botaway Gap Chapter recognizes and supports this resolution to enhance the quality of life for our community members and to improve our homes for generations. This is the resolution that I generated and brought before the community because NHA housing unit has been in need for the last decade. And some of these homes are not even livable. And in the recent report from Red Feather, we've had numerous requests for them to assist with renovations. And so hearing from the president's office that they received this disbursement from NHA and these entities, I requested that we utilize some of that $20 million to go toward those NHA housing. And so at planning meeting, we received numerous testimonies and reports, and we received pictures from many families in that housing unit. I documented all of that information. I will attach that to this resolution, and I will have staff take these documents directly to the president's office so that he is aware of our situation out here. Furthermore, I have contacted the Navajo Times, Donovan Quintero, who accepted and approved to do a documentary and a story on the NHA housing crisis and to produce that information so that the whole nation is aware of our situation out here. I do know that we are on the way in of the other side of the capital of the Navajo Nation and that we get limited attention from any leadership from Window Rock. And so it's about time that we address this situation, and it's about time that we press on the Navajo Nation to get funds and to seek funds for us. Even though NHA states that this house is yours, you paid it off, you're responsible for it. No, we should include words and conditions that, yes, we paid off these houses, but you were the builder of these houses. You were the one that produced them, and we thought they were long lasting, but come to find out they were not. And we're seeing a lot of issues with the windows, with the doors, with the sides, with the roofs, with the foundation, even the landscaping and the roads. And so those are all items that I've generated a report in regards to, and I will send that to the Navajo Nation. If we do not get a response from the nation, then I will release the documentary and the stories on NHA. Thank you, Mr. President. I return the floor back to you.
Thank you, Vice President. For true, Jack, I know, Dean General, the Vice President. Dean, pretty speed, kita secara ada jadi, governors, ini, kita ini berkait ada dia no for last night meeting, saya pun dicatat si, pada coba kode. Agora, ele tinha house, depois a gente tem hoje não, né? The constraint of the motion, but that never happened. They come to find out, Uganda, yeah, it's the construction is substandard to say the least. Agora, the Vice President, I think so, I think he did, in the car teacher. I don't know what you call. The benefits and the other even that. So the motivation $20 billion even for those that order that they did so. But now this big housing, but you don't even cut over about the need. According to our Codona PEP is just tweets contact disease. But over they don't set that it is Amy Township and that's our house, it's our property down in Nando. Oh, yeah, got none. This is not so such people. Don't be good around if you don't need to know. But the Coney Kitty, the natural, but instantly, not all what to know in a so yeah. I don't know, she made Katie us. They kind of not ask for the Teresa.
So Curly and Patty John. Arlene Curly, sorry.
Now, Kenneth, are there any questions, any concerns? Any stories? We want to hear from you, so the community will hear your side, not my side.
Yes, hi, Roland Dick here, excuse me for not speaking Navajo, I'm sorry. Born in Kayenta, born in Long Valley, families out that way, done registered going here. I just want to do and proceed to say that I think you should go with reporting this to the Navajo Times. This article needs to be put public, so each of the chapters can find a way to prove the same what we're doing here in this chapter. That's what I can say tonight. Motion is really hard on this process. Sounds good to any family members out here, people who listen to houses, what you missed within, and this chapter is here for you, I have to say. leadership is key, is what they provide here for us. They provide us good information for us to hear, to listen, everything. Take it all in. Sometimes I'm not here for every chapter meeting, but when I am, I'm happy to see so many people here today.
Yes. Thank you. We can roll in, right?
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Any other comments? That was a good one.
Question.
There's there.
Oh, question, Mama, ich weiß, was hier, ja, but not the NHA, somebody mentioned that, and then, the 20 million, in NHA, yeah, it's available, right? What money was taken back to Washington DC from NHA, I think. Not based on that issue. So was that money replaced with the 20 million? That's my question, thank you.
Hi, Dolly, thank you. In the past, and Councilwoman might have additional information in regards to the status of NHA because the council delegates get thorough reports on the floor from all these departments and programs. But there was substantial information in the past years of funds getting taken back from NHA due to non-use. I don't know what the status of that is right now. We're just only saying that this is what happened in the past. This money that is coming, that I'm talking about, was in the recent presidential report. He has those books out. They're at the stores and all over the reservation. In that report, he spoke about this $20 million that came from. It is a government disbursement, and all the entities who have ties to those monies are the programs that I listed on the resolution. And so what we're saying from the chapter is, we want a piece and we want a part of that $20 million. Don't forget us, because it sounds like they're already allocating these monies to other areas and we're not included in those areas. And I wish that when the council is in session, that our leadership and our representative would speak on our behalf and say, we have a unit in Bitter Springs that needs these funds. And so that is why we're producing documentation so that it's stated for the record that we are in dire need of these housing repairs in Bitter Springs.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments in regards to the resolution? If there's no, go ahead. State your name, please.
My name is Beatrice Dawn. I do have a question on the resolution. Is there a time frame of when this could start to happen?
Once the resolution gets to the Navajo Nation, it's really at their discretion to produce a plan and to give a response back to us. So right now, we're just making a request, and I don't know how long this is going to take. I did write a letter to the Navajo Nation and the leadership member, the three-branch government, in regards to the housing crisis in Bitter Springs, and as of today, I did not get a response. Therefore, I indicated I was going to produce a resolution and submit it.
Vice President?
Mr. Lee Yazzie, and then Councilwoman.
I'm sorry to interrupt. As Dorothy afterwards. My recommendation is maybe attach the letters from the local communities of Bitter Springs that are heavily impacted by these housing renovations. So, Francisca, so we can attach these letters to this resolution, probably make it stronger than have the individuals that got these homes, they purchased these homes from there, stating that this is what their needs are, and attach like photos to it, so it'll stand really solid with our community. So that's my recommendation as the grazing official. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, grazing official. That is part of the plan, as I indicated, that those testimonials and those pictures that were submitted will be utilized as attachments.
Okay, that's great. You got it.
Councilwoman?
Oh, yeah, and Anna, and, this was part of my report some months ago, last year, actually, NHA did give a lot of money back, 50,000 or 50, I don't recall, but they gave a lot of money back, although that money that was given back was it was right after COVID to help people pay for their electric. And alcohol, not a lot of people, I don't know why, I don't know, they went with NTUA. Although they help, they spent some money, with NTUA, they spent some money out, but whatever they didn't use, that was taken back. Although we did support, NHA to see if we can get whatever money that they sent back as council, as HESI. He put the support that they got, but I don't know about RDC, because RDC, Resource and Development Committee, is an oversight for NHA. And whatever our request was denied. You guys had enough time to spend this money out. They don't need, NHA, their personnel, their managers and all that, they went up to DC to try to get the money back. So I don't want this 20 million, they need to say, I can't say much about it until after the summer session. Because that's what our controller, Aja Khaleta, Nada Disney, Joy Adishibana Hatitole. Although I brought this issue to NHA myself. But I brought this issue to NHA myself. What the strong recommendation is that we need a committee from NHA. It's a lot stronger than from the chapter officials or from the council. We need committee, we need a president, vice president, and a secretary. All committee members from there. Our meeting does that whole then they can write a resolution to the chapter. On the chapter during the agency meeting. The same thing is happening with now Kaito. They have to reside at the NHA to be eligible to be on the committee. So it's a lot stronger. Should not just hold that. That manager and when their office meet each line up on this, so get some committees together and let them start having meetings and start addressing these needs, what they are. So NHA Asati basically the Navajo Nation based on that they are based on the committee, if they address this to the and put this as a resolution and have their members that live in the communities in the NHA, let them write their names down. That's really strong. We can bring NHA on the D so I can request for NHA, we're having our delegate region, maybe I can bring NHA there. As officers, we're having our delegate region meeting on August, on Wednesday, the 27th, we have the transportation coming in the morning, although in the afternoon, we can ask, we can request for NHA. I'll call, don't join yet, so that they really want committees from these housing agencies, so I think I just don't feel I need the committee, that those things. It's getting back, you don't know. So you guys can start having a meeting, I'll put in, I don't, it's not level. I'll IBC because the kid that don't need for is a lot stronger. What they need, so, and then we'll bring a John and all this. So, Nana.
Mr. President.
Go ahead, Madam Vice President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Being the sponsor to this resolution, with the comments from our councilwoman, I would like to indicate that this resolution has an attachment. And the attachment is Resolution BA-08-070-23. Looking at the resolution, this resolution was submitted in 2023, and under number 7 of the number 8 of the resolution, it states the Botaway Gap Chapter's Bitter Spring Housing Committee is requesting NHA to assist in securing funding to renovate and repair the 75 homes developed by NHA that were completed in 1986. This resolution that was submitted and passed in 2023 is proof and facts that NHA in Bitter Springs has a committee. It's documented in the resolution. My question to NHA is, why are they overseeing these resolutions and not sharing that information? They are stating incorrect information to you, and that is the reason why I am attaching this resolution to our current resolution. I think the fact is time has passed, and it is time we do something and stop saying we need this and we need that. And so my other question and my other not a question, but my other recommendation is when we talk about this meeting, this regional meeting with other chapters, I request respectfully that NHA come here to Botaway Gap chapter and meet with us directly and not to include other chapters and other entities, but just our community, so we can exchange thorough and accurate information as to where we stand in NHA's procedures, guidelines, and policies. I want to know if they even have seen any of these documents from our chapter. And if they have not, then that goes to show to me that all of our leadership in the past failed us. Because I expect a lot from leadership, and I demand leadership answer those questions and voice these voice these concerns for us. Thank you, Council Delegate.
Thank you. Go ahead. Madam President.
Can I respond?
Go ahead.
I think she wants to respond to that.
Oh, go ahead. Council Delegate, ask for you to say. If you need to respond.
Yeah, I can respond. Shamato, I think this was the sponsor in Ghana.
Yeah.
I'll call, I didn't get a copy of this, so I'll get NHA, which can say,
I
So-
have carried all the
on
resolution.
the, okay.
I have carried all the resolution as well as we did have another resolution before this one. That was to reestablish the housing committee over there.
Okay,
Established the committee, and then we started meeting, and then we did this resolution. I personally carried it to the city office.
okay, my next question would be like, since you have a committee over there, but
Yeah.
other questions, so, and you say, how just,
Like I said, we put in mine is probably at my house. Haven't gotten it yet.
that's, yeah, this is good, but we need the resolution from you guys, question. Aja passed off, a question, what that has And they said the agency meeting did the stop nana. I heard our aim was can't when the uncle a get on this, so. Oh, I'm not side, had not seen the some like you had.
We'd like to hear from you. Asma, one more president.
I was gonna go ahead and mention that, and, the reestablishment of the committee at the housing, and then that resolution, and we did get somebody from, NHA here. This is also the house ownership, and then he came back in here. And the man that came here told us, oh, when the Jonathan Honda told them, so we'll be out there to do assessment, is what he said to us. How many of you remember that? Oh, man, if the husband don't know the home at the Nahak, hold on, he got the his father, Hahalan, or Jewish, then I'm not saying he got us. No more turning out. So that, we did some work, and I myself still go out and take pictures of the area. But I like to, speak to the homeowners, yeah. I know very few of the homeowners keep really good home. You shouldn't go on the other. I just go on the other. Oh, go on, push it, they don't. You wonder how many vehicles are operatable. The to me, even though I have a 1920 Bronco in my yard. But that can't go anywhere. Anyway, so what urgent because also I sure like to, tell the people, the homeowner, the media, that he goes at the house, all the hospital bona, only one but I hate that was so I like to express that to you, I'm sure, but I don't take care of our homes. I have a fence around my house. I put the sneaker. A nice little adult which is just told us. I should have yard to have them. But if you don't have a fence, you always complain. She yard to everything now, you gotta have a fence. My fence is ready to fall apart, but I still have my fence. So I like to express that to the homeowners, not only I, you see, you can run box, no one, okay. Oh, one. No, the next is, yeah. I do have a car, we have to yada, they don't take care of it, they don't even take care of the yard. Should the home pushing and dust up. It's not, it shouldn't be like that. Okay, the homeowners, not the media, I don't, where Andrea, but she does, the list, we give her the list, we do the assessment, and we do, this morning, I got appointed to be on the housing committee under P and Z. So I'm grateful for that, because I always say, there's been boys cotton center. I went to school for something. My mom and dad, my grandparents put me to school for something. So all she gone Shanghai and the open old car in the shipment. And so once this case. I don't know the marriage is in I shot on what a I'm so happy and proud that I'm being addressed like grandma. My God, I can't. I'm happy about that. So I like to express that. That's a way to sit down. She's very knowledgeable about a lot of things. In jungle, she's careful, but laws about eight has on it, eight. In jungle, she's just probably your target, other way jobs on eight, and then had the illegal, the table, eight, on the orgies, Hazard Bahojian, the very first Hazard Bahojian. But that the lake got odds on a Jahan Sea of Dohosa, the instruction, Hala, a being dashing, the Keda Theo, and the chicken cargo became the arch and got of the gospel class. Yet, a Stino, that's going to change it. So, a would and I always like to, I like to teach like that. Although the youngest are know the genius here. Are you in anybody that crosses your path into the leisure? Every day you need the genius here. We pick up our Bible right there, it says, love your neighbors. Question was counting, you and me, but that no genius, that's God talking to you. Share what knowledge you do, touching every day. So thank you. I really appreciate this resolution on the agenda again. We're not going to give up, like our vice president says, we're not going to give up. I hope you guys all think the same way on that. We homeowners, we get our money, we get on the other league, I would answer that case. I can't have.
Johnny, thank you, Isabel. Go ahead, Teresa.
I'd like to say something. Here, I've been Vice President, Secretary, Shaya, Teresa Curley, and Shaya. I live in Bitter Spring in the county. And I really appreciate that house on me. And I'm a single parent for 21 years. I have 2 daughters and 3 grandkids. Out of the boyfriends and girlfriends at home, and 8 of us live in 2-bedroom house. And it's very small. When my daughters and my granddaughters, when we all go to the kitchen and cook, you can't even turn. That's how it's easy yet. I appreciate my house. That's a random. You make me cry sitting here. I'm so thankful that you're trying so hard for us to get a home. Renovate our homes. My grandkids, they always tell me, you're not a plumber, Grandma. You're not a plumber to get no summer yet. I didn't know how to do this, but my shower didn't work. Jay, I wanted to say, get out, but there was nobody to help fix your home. Repair, but then there's nobody to help, nobody to turn to. So I went and did on my own. I went to Ace and got all this stuff, thinking that I can fix it. Oh, this one looks easy. I can do it. I can fix it. And I went to the shower. I took off that long. And the shower, the water just gushed out on me. And I was just screaming and screaming for my granddaughter. I didn't know you had to go outside and turn up the main down. That's why my grandkids, they say, you're not a plumber, Grandma. But I still did it. I went for help. This time I went to my nephew and my brother-in-law. They fixed it for me. Thank God for them.
Hello. Jonah?
Alan and my nephew, the lady Alan. I fixed my own room too. I said, way on top of the hill like an ant. All those shingles, they come off. Even though you repair it and repair it and repair it, but it doesn't even help. Sometimes I just wanna go on top of the roof and fix it myself. I can't, I'm scared. Again, there's nobody around to help. And it's so hard. I told my brother Leonard, and he fixed the roof for me, repairs the patches here and there. And I put my granddad on top of the roof. Go up there with grandpa, learn from grandpa. And then he go, one day you can repair grandma's roof because she won't go to the hospital. And she was up there with grandpa, her grandpa. Don't take when he's in the hospital. And it is hard to see our homes like that, especially for a single parent. And all I have 2 bedrooms, I wish they could add another room for me, or for us, whoever has 2 bedroom homes. Holidays, vacations, and during the summer, my kids, they come home with a 2 bedroom home. All eggies, they go, where do they sleep? On the floor, air mattress. I wish they started with 3 rooms, but they didn't. A lot of us, we had 2 bedrooms. His sister and the father, every morning, we are adding each other. When I watch the news in the morning, I say, oh, monsoon. I get scared. I don't sleep those nights. I stay up all night and pray, oh, Lord, don't let this roof cave in on me. That's how bad the homes are. I just want to share that with you. I can't.
Thank you. Thank you, Teresa. Any more comments, suggestions? Go ahead. Go ahead.
知道这还是就是前老人养成是这个经历，39 years, 40 years, that's when we moved in 1986 from Arkansas. So that's how long we've been living there. And yes, there was organization. There's name housing organization, was working there for so many years. I thought a yard renovation based on us in the we applied for it. Another group we were the first officers. I think I came on with the officers. And then I'm it opens me. She had a place of mess in the not many people meeting. I said, for so many years now. I do that with it. So he had, then also 20 officers. He got general because when he talked to you about the renovation, Loretta, Drea, and the president. More accountability. We can't remember what nothing was raising. We thought about Jahiego, Yin, Teresa. But then she actually husband, he's old and he has health issues. You are managed in the home ownership of that cover plumbing, whatever. Flexibility, but it's not loyalty that came into it. So I appreciate it. We're on the agenda. So home ownership, of course, tell your neighbors. About my niece, sisters, relatives, almost like because you know, renovation, you know, make this of the maybe said that the not get a home done, not a cheap but oh, you should come on some age and the home done, they will go to meetings. Even under the organization, creating that they are on the agenda. Or what you draw, he makes cover. resolution way out here. Wouldn't get much. The same. Petition is named as a car, because it's not in right. So, okay, I'm thinking. I then also connect on the other engineers. John Boston School. So, whatever's going on, maybe. Even then, I'll hold that in the resolution, whatever needs to be done for the community. If the resolution is so the update money, that goes through. All the problem. I thought, yeah, it's not really nice, and it's like, all things are the part, I mean, window, they have really nothing, so I guess, but it's always, and that, busy. I'm glad he's.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, James, I don't care, you said, say your names for the record, please, as for the.
The only challenge that we're under the street is I can not show.
This year. Should check it. Our bathroom design. And we have nobody to fix it for us. That's sweet, right? He's on fire. One has to argue. I lost my husband 3 years ago. And then on 12, I see we just don't have anybody to look up to. And I'd like to make a suggestion. But they can't be. Well, this is the able. Or when you go to the sheets, then a roof up. Bathroom and gate, we hire and we take close to 3,000 maybe just for 2 bathrooms, and it was a lot of money that we spent. And I'll go check it what the others, but the youngest I thought this one, I ate and what should they must be with them. Audit on contact, if we can contact this chapter and have them do the service for us. If you're not a young single parent, then you can. Oh, God, because she don't buy things. I bought a video. And that we fix it. And housing services, that window and there's honor. The job of John by each other. I don't say, oh, yeah, equal. Window, then you got change it a year, so that's, it's John and the associate, workmanship, whether they did that with.
Yes.
For 88, okay, for others. But if I speak of it, I don't know the people work.
For people wonder not to that's it.
Question should be.
But, holidays on that, we have I have a lot of kids or grandkids, and that's why there's about close to 30 of us. Well, if you go, I saw a 4-bedroom, and those bedrooms are the small, easy here. For Christian, it will say, I just tell them wherever you can find a place to sleep, sleeping back and but in our shoe, on the table on our street, that being tough, but they love to come and visit for on maybe, alcohol days, talk or those days. The one that the one straight out the operation or efficiency, that maybe something. But able to one by way, able on the other three, any for. And that's it, you know, I just appreciate the home. And maybe that's the other day, not so much. And we paid them off and we got some papers now, ownership papers we cost me. And I'm very thankful that we paid it off, but we just need help to get it renovated. We need the house. Yeah, it's she was in the big ones and honey buckets, the road not that we got. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, she was yeah.
Madam Vice President, the Vice President, Gordon, Constantine, I'm sorry. And then President, I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
It's late.
It's late. And
Oh,
I'm hungry.
okay, Nana, it's good to hear you guys concerned. I wish I met with you guys when NHA was here and I would have heard all of that. I'll call, I know, a change, obviously, what this was all the NHA. When I went to Washington DC, I only went one time, they told us that. But we just sent the money out there. Here, you guys put all the red tape on it yourself as Navajo Nation, For the aid, we want you guys to spend the money out. So in exchange, they just add on. So, I'll request for them to come here. And if you guys can give me a list of the committee, the president, vice president, secretary, a Hofstad on his network members, Hofstad on his network chapter official, Hofstad on his net. Other bado on the Kaholishnishkan. Other on the Ayego, Naha, the Katin Shidaka. So the Kadita, I think his days are. Yeah, I need that on them. Shooting lattice, ceremony hogan, the Kata National. Quotation is linked on. Otherwise, it's got down. I call, Sani Jelling on the avatar, and how this sweet of our content. As to that one, and they get us in that call. I call a Chicago, what he had done. I call even in you see what a nasty Iadole. To, on the base of a fucking stock. I don't, in age, don't, it's in the base of the Halo, I know they do. A call, if we have to bring this resolution, take this resolution to RDC, chapter officials, we can get on the agenda. And let, the RDC invite their NHA, let them hear us out there. That's the only way that we can move forward with this. Although, just putting out in the public's not gonna really help too, because nobody's gonna really come forward for us. But if we go before RDC and invite NHA, and that way they can hear us out and we can get respond back, because we can go with when we go into a committee, we have to go by their committee rules. They can respond back to our questions. So if you ask the questions, they have to respond back to you. Okay, so maybe we can do that, and let me know when I can put this on the agenda for you guys, and when you guys' dates are available, okay? I'm wishing that one head over here. Dorothy, oh, no, wait.
Dorothy, go ahead, Madam Vice President, Dorothy.
Really quickly, Mr. President and Councilwoman, thank you for expressing and acknowledging the fact that you finally heard the community and it disheartens you to hear their needs. I'm very happy to hear that from you because from here on, during summer session, I'm gonna be online or I might even come to the council chambers to see if there's any extensive reports in regards to this. In regards to RDC, I'm ready anytime to go in front of RDC because this is not the only topic that I've tried to communicate to RDC. RDC are the council delegates that are selected to be on the Resource Committee Development. I also have Title III questions in regards to our cattle, theft issue here in Botaway Gap chapter. I wanted to indicate that those laws don't really work for our community members and our grazing members holistically. And then I also wanted to go before RDC to talk about our tourism issue. I sent out a memorandum to RDC and I sent a memorandum to the Navajo Nation in regards to that as well. And at this point, I'm assuming that you have not received those informations, but I am glad and ready to come before RDC. Thank you.
Thank you. Shema?
Oh, this was the, Honorable Delegate. I want you to take word back to our Yash Johnson, Councilman Johnson. The Mahatani Gunde Chabadini. Has come out, they met better from them, Casey Johnson. I know he's on the housing committee.
Any other concern, comments? What, go ahead, state your name for the record, so you can write it down.
Major John, I just have a question. Are you accepting any testimonies, pictures still? For the committee?
Yes, I will gladly take all comments, letters, text messages, phone calls, recordings, videos, pictures, anything. If you don't send them to me, you can send them to Andrea. When we did the emergency alert for the Bravo fire, we sent out those notifications via Facebook and social media. Those letters at the bottom have my phone, my cell phone, direct cell phone number, and my email address. You can send it to those.
Then I do have another question on the homes that are vacant or abandoned. Once they do get renovated, will they be up for sale or what is the outcome for those?
Well, those houses, those are not vacant, are in the jurisdiction of NHA. But there is one house that was supposed to be, that belongs to the committee. So I wrote an extensive comprehensive report on that house specifically. How are we supposed to have a committee and how is our committee supposed to even function if they don't even have a building to have their meetings in? So I added that report. I'm going to attach that to this resolution stating that. But in the meantime, if we need to have committee meetings, you're more than welcome to use the chapter facility. You're more than welcome to meet at somebody's house. But it is true. The committee needs to be functioning and operating. And the important thing is your reports, your documentation as committee members is very, very valid. Those need to be submitted to the chapter, and that's where we produce these informations. I know as a former official, for the past 6 years, I've heard so many comments about NHA. I've heard so many reports about NHA. And when I saw this report from the president's office, I wasn't going to wait for a committee. And I wasn't going to wait for documentation. Just the reports that the community has shared over the years is sufficient enough to me to prove to the Navajo Nation that there is a problem out here. And we need to address it with or without a committee. Because the human life is so important. The lives are so important that policies, all all these things shouldn't matter. Your life should be, we need to address it because this is a humanitarian issue. Is where I'm coming from. And that's what I'm gonna specifically state to RBC as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other more comments out there? Yeah,
Thank you, President Hanks. I'm not gonna use the mic because I feel like I'm gonna cough. And I don't want to hurt anybody's ears. And I really want to thank, everybody that's here from NHA. I do hear you guys, I hear what the issue is. And sometimes I feel like I can't do anything when I really want to help. But there is something, with hearing about the repairs, the maintenance, and, something as not intense, like fixing a shower, or fixing a window. And I'm willing to, with the crew that I have, they in between projects, they have a little downtime. And the crew, they're the type that they want to constantly keep working. They don't like to take breaks, meaning they don't like to take days off in between homes. They want to continue every day doing something. So all I would like to ask from you homeowners is, contact me, let me know what you need, like as far as the repair goes, something like windows, if you can't do it, let me know. I'm willing to send Lester to come to your house and he can see what he can do. If he has the parts, if we have the parts, because we had a stockpile of just supplies and materials here from previous years. We've been using those. So, I'm happy to have him go to your house and I'm happy to have him assist you with that. And that's just, in between the downtime, I can't say like, if you come in on Monday, I'll send him Tuesday, because they are working, they have like 3 homes lined up right now. But when they have downtime, if the weather comes in, with the smoke, they have to stop for a bit. And so, just let me know. At least I can push a little bit towards that. I also have housing discretionary money available. It's up to $3,000 for building materials. And I can help with that as well. You just need to come and do the application with me. You have to do the legwork. You have to do the application, bring in your documents and do the 3 quotes. It has to be for an existing home that you're living in. And with the homeowners, your homeownership paperwork is considered your home site lease because the application says home site lease. But the home ownership paperwork, your title, think of it as your home site lease. And you can get assistance with this. I don't know if it was ever mentioned like that before, but it took a while for us to figure out that, even though NHA says don't help them, that's not your responsibility, it's ours, but then they come back and they say, you guys have to do it. It goes in a circle with the comments that we get. So as a chapter, we've taken the initiative to open that home site lease to NHA homeowners. And just weatherization, it's not a lot, it's not a lot compared to what you guys need. But at least we can get by and, if we get this 20 million or part of it to help with doing a new build on homes and stuff, it'll get you by. I hate to say it, I call it a Band-Aid right now, especially for homes that need a lot of repairs. But as a chapter manager and with my crew that likes to help the community, they're actually here wanting to help the community. Many times they say, I could leave and go to a higher paying job, but I'm here because our community needs me. They say that. It really makes me happy that I have staff like that. My staff, even the kids that you guys see here, the kids that are working at the office, they're really into, learning to help the community. And I'm very proud of them, and I'm very proud of my administrative staff. We take a lot on, but we do it because we're from here. We have family here. We And we're making a big difference. Even it's just as, just answering the phone and being different than other offices. I get a lot of compliments when the kids answer the phones and they're not typical Navajo Nation offices, they're very professional, they're still learning, but, they do that. But going back to the maintenance part, I'm happy to share my maintenance crew with you guys, if you guys need maintenance assistance, There's also, Red Feather, I believe, Red Feather has helped a few homes out there. And they are there to assist as well. They also offer a class for women that want to learn how to use tools or to do those types of repairs. They had it in Lachi'i, and I was kind of bummed that they chose that location. We're hoping to get them here at our location. Jordan's working really hard to do that, but it was a huge success from what I saw and from what the pictures showed. So you have Red Feather. There's also Navajo Solidarity. They were formerly known as Navajo Hopi Land Commission, or no, Navajo Hopi COVID Relief, I'm sorry. And they also assist with that as well. And so there are different opportunities out there to get funding, to get assistance. And I'm pretty sure there's more. These are the only ones that I know of so far that I refer people to. And so, just let me know if it's a shower, a faucet, anything to do with plumbing, if you need to replace a toilet. I have guys that do that. My front desk clerk over here can do that for you. You guys raise your hand and they she can do that. She was maintenance for over 13 years for 2 hotels, so she can help you if you ask her nicely. My brother is not doing anything. If you ask him nicely, he'll come fix your ceiling or your roof for you. But we also network. We have people that are willing to help, But I'm, as a chapter manager, I have the availability to let the crew go to your house, if it's just one person, if it's 2. If you have electrical issues, again, I have a certified electrician. I'm very happy I have one. I didn't know I had one. And he's certified through Red Feather. So if you need a certification, they pay for that for you. So that's an option that you have, and they can pay for your tuition for trade school. They can pay for your tools and they can pay for your certification. So Red Feather does that. It's a really good program. But that's how he became certified in the middle of him working with us. And so I just want to let you all know that I feel for everybody at any shade. I've been pushing to try to get money because I want to beautify your community. I want to put a big old wall around it so you guys can have your own privacy. Because there's a lot of tourists that go through there. But I think it's time, that our communities get beautified, and if any shade, if we can tap into some of this money, it would be nice to see like trees out there. Your roads being repaired, I tried pushing for that and they told me that we don't own it. The chapter can't help, because it's not ours. I tried to get a cement truck and everything to go out there and to get it redone. And they told me that I'm overstepping into their boundaries and onto their property. So I wasn't able to do that either. And so I'm glad that, we're pushing with this. And that was one of the reasons why, the committee was reestablished again. So I think this is a good time, to get this ball rolling. And like Loretta said, I'm ready to go to RDC as well to, be up there for you guys, for the community members, for our entire community in general. But, one step at a time, and this is one of the biggest projects that we've been trying to push ever since I came back. So I wanted to say that. So just come by the office. I know usually is at the front desk, you can take your information, and then we can just start. We always say a list. I hate saying a list, but, we just go down, and then when we can help someone, once we're done, we cross you off. So, but it's the way we track things too. But she's able to take your information and then let her know what's needed. I don't know, Vice President and President, if this is because of the testimonies with the roofs and the living situation, if we could It was submitted to emergency management to Sharon Sandoval, and then start submitting these ICAS 213s with all the requests, with all the issues, and just start creating another packet or another project under emergency management, because I think just not having a livable home where people, where an organization should be able to help is not helping, and people are, it's just not right in general. So I don't know if that's something that we can move forward with as well, and then we have all that documentation, and if we say it's an emergency, maybe they'll push as well with NHA or with other departments. But that's my comment. Come to my office, let us know what you need, and when you guys are available, I'm happy to send them down to your homes. Thank you.
多谢咱的这个，我知道的是那个 council delegate. Next one is you. Go ahead, sister.
Oh, I was really thinking about what, Shema Dorothy said to me that time about NHA. And I was, starting to work with Dave Costello on this, Native Community Capital. NHA, Hako with the dot, Nickel, and Hako Gospel with his team and take their application and so in the hush on that, now begin down what's that? So because they were under, they had to be investigation, so we'll see what we're how it comes out, and then I'll pick it up from there again, and we'll go ahead and start working with you guys out here. So I think as homeowners, you qualify for that too. So did NHA will work with both. Once Native Capital is done with their investigation, we'll bring them in.
Say your name for the record, ask for the.
I'm Carol Sosky, I live in Whittier as well. My question is, with all the roof leaks, we probably have mold in our attic. So that's kind of like a health issue. Because some people, like, the health department, they let people move out. There's a lot of mold in the house. It can affect your health. So that's my only question.
I would suggest we vote right now because before we lose quorum. Nobody ever said that. Oh, yeah, that is the NHA housing that's crazy. I will give it to the Vice President for a vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. Going back to the floor, we do have a motion by Teresa Curley, second by Darlene Curley. Again, this is for resolution number BA-07-054-25. Going to the floor, all those in favor for this resolution, please raise your hand. Those who oppose and abstaining, anybody abstaining, not voting? Mr. President, we have 25 in favor, 0 opposed, and 2 abstaining, and that would be President and Councilwoman.
Thank you, Vice President. With that vote, we go down to, first of all, do we have enough quorum so we can say legal? Okay, go up to J. Resolution BA-07-05525. Sponsor is a Vice President. Ashford, that is not stop, sorry. Ashford, that is not stop. Thank you.
This is another resolution, and I am the sponsoring party. This is resolution BA 07 55 25. The resolution reads, the Waterway Gap chapter requests that the Navajo Nation executive branch, legislative branch, and judicial branch meet with the Waterway Gap chapter to address the recent surge in tourism on US Highway 89 and the Navajo Route 20. The influx has caused an imbalance in the ecosystem, potential risk of unsafe practices, and illegal trespassing. This resolution has an attachment, which is the memorandum to Navajo Nation. It was sent on May 29, 2025 by Chapter Vice President Loretta Suminyama. The document reads, the resolution reads for the record, whereas number 1, pursuant to Navajo Nation Codes Title 26, Section 3.8, and Navajo Nation Title 11, Part 1, Section 10, the Waterway Gap chapter is certified and recognized by the Navajo Nation Council. And number 2, pursuant to Navajo Nation Code Title 26, Section 1B, the Waterway Gap chapter is vested with the authority and responsibility to review all matters affecting the community, make appropriate corrections when necessary, and to make recommendations to the Navajo Nation and other local agencies for appropriate actions. And number 3, pursuant to Navajo Nation Code Title 26, Section 1B, the Waterway Gap chapter is given governmental authority with respect to local matters consistent with Navajo law, including custom and traditions. And number 4, the Navajo Nation Parks and Recreation, along with Navajo Economic Development, do not operate within the Waterway Gap chapters. This results in a lack of communication and information regarding tourism permits or activities that impact the local community. Number 5, the Waterway Gap chapter has received numerous reports from its community members regarding the recent surge in tourism. Recent reports have indicated that tourists are A, creating makeshift trails by dirt bikes, motorbikes, jeeps, and 4x4 vehicles. B, creating unauthorized off-road activity in prompting grazing, which is prompting grazing permitters to raise alarms about potential harm to the native plants and availability of food sources critically needed for their livestock. C, irresponsibly disposing of trash and littering in multiple locations. D, using firearms and weapons which poses a safety risk for community members. E, establishing makeshift camps outside of regulated hours. And F, conducting illegal aerial flights. Number 6, the Waterway Gap chapter directs the Navajo Nation to intervene as these types of behaviors contradict the core traditions and cultural values of the Navajo people. Now, therefore, be resolved that the Waterway Gap chapter hereby supports and approves an immediate meeting with the Navajo Nation to review and streamline laws that will ensure that the Navajo Nation regulations serve the interests of the people of the Waterway Gap chapter. Number 2, the Navajo Nation Economic Report highlights that tourism has generated $768 million for the local economy, particularly benefiting areas near major attractions. The Waterway Gap chapter, one of the 110 chapters that provides access to the Grand Canyon, is positioned to enhance its role in this vibrant tourism economy. While it may not currently receive direct revenue from tourism, the chapter seeks the opportunity to strategically leverage its unique location and cultural heritage to develop initiatives that could harness the economic benefits of tourism. The Waterway Gap chapter recognizes the balance of the ecosystem is at risk and that the local community members advocate for responsible tourism practices to protect the environment and local livestock. Mr. President, this is the resolution. This resolution has an attachment. The attached letter is the memorandum that I sent to the Navajo Nation, and I can read that into the record as well. This memorandum was dated Thursday, May 29, 2025. It was sent to President Lou Nybron, Navajo Nation President, Honorable Rochelle Montoya, Navajo Nation Vice President, Honorable Crystal Curley, Speaker of the Navajo Nation, Honorable Paulina Nez Begay, 25th Navajo Nation Council, Honorable Otto So, 25th Navajo Nation Council. Honorable Casey Allen Johnson, 25th Navajo Nation Council. Mr. Mike Halona, Navajo Nation Parks and Recreation Department Executive Director. Martin L. Bejay, Navajo Nation Parks and Recreation Department Manager. Karen Patterson, Little Colorado River Tribal Parks Program Supervisor, and Tony Sperlonis, Division of Economic Development Executive Director. This memo is regarding backcountry tourism issues, including environmental degradation, safety risks, and disruptions to local community. It's indicated on the memorandum that the Bottomway Gap chapter is an officially recognized entity of the Navajo Nation, having received certification as a Local Governance Act LGA chapter from the Navajo Nation Tribal Council in 2010. Although the Bottomway Gap chapter does not have the largest population among the chapters, it possesses the most extensive land area within the Navajo Nation. The chapter encounters various challenges related to economic development and its efforts to generate revenue. In light of the recent surge in tourism along US Highway 89 and Indian Route 20, numerous community members have actively participated in chapter planning and regular meetings to voice their concerns regarding the impact of increased visitor activity in sensitive backcountry areas. Notable lake locations under scrutiny include the scenic rim of Cedar Ridge, the picturesque Pillow Hill, and the expansive landscape leading from Bottomway to the Grand Canyon. The influx of tourists have resulted in creation of makeshift trails and roads formed by dirt bikes, motorbikes, jeeps, and 4x4 vehicles. This unauthorized off-road activity is prompting grazing permit holders to raise alarms about the potential harm to the growth of native plants and the availability of food source critical to their livestock. The delicate balance of this ecosystem is at risk, and community members are advocating responsible tourism practices that protect both the environment and local livelihoods. Visitors to the area have irresponsibly disposing of trash and littering in multiple locations, displaying a disregard for environmental preservation. Additionally, some individuals have brought firearms and other weapons into the surroundings, posing significant safety concerns. Tourism have also been traveling and establishing camps outside of regulated hours, potentially causing disturbances. Furthermore, reports indicate that aerial flights are being conducted, contributing to increased disruption of what was once a tranquil environment. The observed behaviors and actions are not only inappropriate, but also contradict the core traditions and cultural values of the Navajo people. In response, the Bottomway Gap chapter respectfully calls for a collaborative meeting among professionals and community leaders to engage in a meaningful discussion addressing these critical concerns. While its existing laws provide protection for various departments, as a committed leader, I am driven to advocate for legislative reforms that more effectively meet the distinct needs for our community. I am also aware that over the years, resolutions have been enacted aimed at preserving our sacred land. These measures have significantly aimed at the restriction of permit approvals from the Navajo Nation Parks and Recreation. We must continue to build upon these efforts to protect our environment and uphold our cultural integrity. As the chapter vice president, I'm requesting a meeting to discuss the review and streamlining of our laws. The goal is to ensure that these regulations serve the interests of the people of the Bottomway Gap chapter effectively. Your input, recommendations, and solutions are vital to this process, and I appreciate your timely participation in this important discussion. I can be reached directly via email, and I listed my email address or my cell number. And I made a courtesy copy to the Bottomway Gap chapter officials, the Bottomway Gap Planning and Zoning Committee, and the chapter administration. That is the memo that goes with the resolution, Mr. President. And that's my justification as to why this resolution was produced. Thank you.
Motion?
Motion, first one. We need another motion. Karen. Right on, we're gonna open it up for discussion.
No comments or questions?
At that, chứ đợi đi kia at that, CEO,
Just a short comment. I think this is an ongoing thing that we've been, as a chapter, been trying to get, Navajo Parks and Rec out here. For some reason, even if you meet them at a conference, you tell them in person to come out and meet with us, they won't. So I hope this will help. Thank you.
Karen, go ahead, Karen.
Thank you. Just a suggestion, is there, does the high traffic on M20, is it possible to put a sign there that is residential only or something? I mean, they may not abide by it, but at least, you know, there's a sign that says residential only or something like that. Because they're tearing up that road. CIA or NDOT's not gonna come out and fix it. It's just a suggestion.
Thank you. Judith? Madam Vice President, want to respond to that?
Yes, thank you, Karen, for posing that question. That is a question we can ask NDOT to see if we can add multiple signs indicating that is land within the jurisdiction of the Navajo Nation. The other issue is we're probably going to have to sit down with Copper Mine chapter because much of M20 lies within Copper Mine chapter's area and the GE as well. So as we get their support and they're on board with this, it's most likely could become a reality. Thank you.
Any more questions, suggestions?
Really quick on that note.
Right,
I'm
over.
suggesting it should be made into a toll. They pay toll for axles that cross the earth. If you ever notice and drove through Oklahoma, those tribal lands, that's from Tulsa to Missouri. That's all tolls. All that money for the axles and truckers, you pay two axles and you pay the truckers, you know, they have multiple axles, no matter how much heavy loads that goes through there, they're getting paid by the axles that travels through their reservation land. Even though they're still responsible for the road as well, it makes a lot of sense to start right, manufacturers start at Green Mountain, all the way up to 89, around that way to the reservation, and should go that way, all the way to Eastern. But just my opinion, but suggestion, nobody's, I don't know, pretty sure it's been out there, put out there before, but that's.
Thank you very much for the suggestion, recommendation. Any more out there?
I second that.
Okay, there's two of you guys.
Mr. President, going back to Mr. Biggs' comment about developing turn types or tolls on Navajo Nation, there is legislation and laws that we can't implement some of those things because this road in 20 particularly was built and developed with emergency funds, and it was supposed to be mainly for emergency purposes. But with Councilwoman scheduling a meeting with RBC, these are questions that we can go back and bring to them and see if we can, you know, just give that, you know, that notification to them that they know that the community is requesting for this is something that we can do.
Any more out there? Go ahead, Sidney.
Well, I think what he's suggesting is, you know, what he was saying was the 18-wheelers and all that to have to pay a toll and stuff like that. Maybe we can reuse that money, you know, to fix the roads and stuff like that. Like when you're going down to Hidden Springs down here, when, you know, when you're driving along, it's like a roller coaster ride. It's like, you know, kind of a problem too, because you know, I have all these 18-wheelers come through, like a lot of them through the highways.
Thank you for your input. Liaison? now, April Vice President, for a vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. Going to the floor to vote for resolution number B8-07-055-25. Thank you for your support and your comments. I really do appreciate it. Going to the floor to vote, all those who vote in favor. We have 25 in favor, Mr. President. All those who oppose. 0 opposing, and then 2 abstaining. That would be President and Councilwoman.
Thank you. 25-0 to 2. That makes us go to the next one. Hang in there with us. We have 2 more resolutions.
Mr. President, thank you. These 2 resolutions, as indicated at the beginning of the meeting on the agenda, I asked for modification. This is resolution BA-07-056-25. It says the sponsor would have been Chapter Secretary Treasurer, but she's not here. The initial resolution states, and this is probably the one that you have, the heading says, an act supporting planning and zoning committee members to approve amendments to planning and zoning committee plan of operations, section 6, to increase membership from 5 to 6 members. That heading has changed. We have modified that heading. So the new language for the record will read, the Waterway Gap chapter accepts and approves PZ-2025-005, an act supporting Planning and Zoning Committee resolution to approve amendments to the Planning and Zoning Committee Plan of Operations, Section 6, to improve membership from 5 to 6 members. And I think all night we've been reading the whereas, the pursuants, and the Navajo Nation codes. So I'm going to go straight down to number 6 to the direct business. Whereas number 6 states, the Waterway Gap chapter approves the Planning and Zoning Committee to make amendments to Section 6, committee selection membership of the Planning and Zoning Plan of Operation. And number 7, the Waterway Gap chapter accepts and approves the Planning and Zoning Committee's request to add new language in Section 6, committee selection membership of the Planning and Zoning Plan of Operation, known as POO. And the Waterway Gap chapter formally accepts and approves the request from the Waterway Gap Planning and Zoning Committee to expand its membership. And this initiative aims to enhance the effectiveness and efficacy of planning and implementation processes, as well as to incorporate established protocols into the operations of the Waterway Gap chapter government and the broader community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Waterway Gap chapter hereby supports and approves the amendments to the Planning and Zoning Committee's plan of operation, specifically Section 6, to increase the membership from 5 members to 6 members. And number 2, the Waterway Gap chapter acknowledges and supports the request from Planning and Zoning Committee to incorporate new language in Section 6, committee selection membership of the Planning and Zoning Plan of Operation. That is the resolution, Mr. President.
Thank you. Would you two motion parties, please, from the floor? That's order.
Also, I want to notate that P&Z resolution is attached to this resolution.
Karen and Roland. With that vote, we open the floor for questioning on this resolution. Hang in there with us. After this one, there's only one more. Thank you for your patience. Sister, you have any comments, suggestions?
On the Section 6, could you change the Roman numeral? It's VI instead of IV.
This will be number 4 to B1.
Yeah, IV is 4. So 6 is.
Okay, no, it's IV4. Yeah, I got my Roman numerals confused,
Okay.
I'm sorry, for the record, it is 4.
Okay, it's 4 or 6?
4, it's 4.
Okay.
Thank you for your questions. But no, you did not just kick along. Suggestions. Let that now, I'm gonna go to Vice President.
Mr. President, we'll go to the floor for voting. This is approving resolution BA-07-056-25 with verification that it is section 4, not section 6, for the record. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Those who oppose? Mr. President, we have 25 in favor, 0 opposed, and 2 abstaining, President and Councilwoman.
With that vote, 25-0 to 2, we go on to another resolution. Resolution L. The sponsor is the Vice President Ashford. You can't know it again.
And again, I'm going to shorten the reading of the resolution, only because by now we've been reading these codes to everybody all evening. The resolution is BA-07-057-25. The sponsor is Loretta Suiyama, the Botaway Gap chapter. Again, we changed the language on this resolution. On your agenda, it stated the Botaway Gap chapter approves and supports the Planning and Zoning Committee to approve land designation for proposed site for the Botaway Gap Senior Center as initiated to comply with Navajo Nation Council and Office of the Controller timeline for budget expenditure plans and its demands. The revised resolution for the record states the Botaway Gap chapter accepts and approves as Planning and Zoning Committee Resolution PZ-2025-008 to approve land designation for the proposed site for the Botaway Gap Senior Center as initiated to comply with Navajo Nation Council and Office of the Controller timeline for budget expenditure plans and its demands. And then passing all the pursuant rules in tribal codes, going directly down to number 5. It states pursuant to the Local Governance Act Title 26, Section 2004B, the Botaway Gap chapter established a Planning and Zoning Committee. The committee is responsible for assisting with community planning, promoting constructive growth, and advancing development for a viable community. The committee's goal is to prioritize thoughtful organization and collaboration among all stakeholders. Number 6, the Botaway Gap chapter approves the Planning and Zoning Committee's recommendation for the Senior Center site, which is located at the Botaway Gap chapter compound with an expanded acreage from the wood and equipment area. Now therefore it be resolved that the Botaway Gap chapter accepts and approves Planning and Zoning Resolution PZ-2025-008, which fully supports the approval of land designation at the proposed sites of the Botaway Gap chapter compound for the Botaway Gap chapter Senior Center as mentioned in PZ-2025-008. That is the resolution, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Before we open up the discussion, we need to vote.
Motion and second.
Motion and second.
Motion by Dorothy Lee. Second by Teresa Curley.
Motion party, I don't think And regarding this resolution, in planning and zoning, BK Abato, so for senior citizen, no, resolution is, oh, it's our job here to read what the resolution. This is the planning and zoning. So we're in need of senior citizen. Father K Abato, so no, designated a place to build this senior citizen. They put over another kita the court. That's what they has to go ahead.
Mr. Hanks, can I make the motion to just go restrict the voting, because I know we talked about it, we're planning and zoning.
Yes.
Yeah, we took discussion over this, because there's already funding, we just need to find the site, that already states in the resolution.
Yeah, the motion is acknowledged. Madam Vice President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Grazing Official. Yes, we have talked about this topic extensively, and yes, the funds have been encumbered. We just needed to designate a site for a senior center to be developed and implemented here on the Chappaqua compound. Going to the resolution number B8-07-057-25. Those who vote in favor, please raise your hand.
Yeah, kuya tatigas. Teacher, enough. I'm here.
Does anybody oppose this resolution? Is there anybody who is not voting, meaning you're abstaining? Mr. President, we have 28 in favor, 0 opposed, and 2 abstaining, and that would be President and Councilwoman. This resolution passes.
This resolution last year is what 28-0-2. Now we move down to number 8 reports. 10 minutes is what we're allocated for. If we go over, we need a written report. That is the law. I didn't make it. You guys, that's 27. You got the cut. That's only the cut.
26.
26. 6. Hey, Council Delegate, Madam Maria today. There's 10 minutes.
Okay, Anna, då hade jag skyddat on till sotta hade ansvar på hållskydd I don't for the last 2 months we've been working on budgets. Navajo Nation 2026 with the fiscal year budget. See that as oversight, we've been staying longer and we have oversight to Jitaton the Hakaho binders na so we've been going through their budgets and asking questions why they're not spending or where their needs are. So we've been really working on the fiscal year 2026 budget. So we approved Navajo Nation Department of Education for budget approved data. And then we on the Navajo Nation Division of Human Resources, on the Division of Child and Family Services, on the Navajo Nation Department of Health, on the Navajo Nation Division of General Services. It just sounds like there's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but overall, the department, there's programs again. So each program, like the Department of Health has 26 programs under the Department of Health. So we had to go through each budget. So everything now, they have to redo that and fix their binder and come back to the HESI. On the end, we look through it and we approve their budgets. And then we go in front of, with our oversight, we go in front of budget and finance committee, if it not the NEP with our oversight. So they ask us questions and all that, so if they find an error on the budget and finance committee meeting, we had to tell the oversight to fix it again, and then we go back to budget and finance. I'll put the update, Eagle, Ashford, we finally, we were done, Monday, we were done last Thursday. Although Monday, Tuesday, we brought some back to the, budget and finance again. The only program that didn't come before us was, Division of, Navajo Nation Veterans.